Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are revisiting the application of these two products due to some recent changes and some things I noticed after the fact, specifically for Ceramic Slam, about how the company has demonstrated the application. Starting with Detail Co., they have updated the instructions so that you apply it with a damp microfiber. There's been some comments as well about alternative uses. Again, not listed on the bottle, but alternate uses. And so we're going to explore that with this one. We're going to use the damp cloth. I'm not doing dilutions. I'm just going to do the damp cloth. And then with lithium, we're going to try two different things. First thing is we're going to work in a smaller section, the exact same way I applied it previously. And then the second way is not doing the 5-minute cure, not using an applicator, applying it directly to the paint, wiping it in with one, and then removing it with another. That's what we're going to check with that and this, and see what kind of changes there are, what kind of improvements, and then we will discuss how this affects the ranking, or does it affect the ranking, and if so, what's my thoughts on that. So we'll get to the footage of applying it. We did it to the doors on the car, the same way we would apply them during the ranked reviews. So the similar process, polished, panel wiped, all that stuff. So it's all prepped, ready to go. But we'll cut to that, and then we'll come back and discuss what I'm going to do about it. Okay, we're looking at Detail Co.'s Infinity Ceramics Sealant, ceramic spray, just ceramic sealant. Doing reapplication, but this time with a damp towel. Instructions say to spray onto a damp towel, work in a 2 foot by 2 foot, so I'll try and just split the door down the middle here and see how that goes. I have another towel if I need to wipe it more, because the whole towel is damp. It's not just damp on one side, but we shall see. It does smell good. So it's very smooth with the damp towel, I'll say that. I can see the residue, but it is pretty minimal. And flip. Hopefully you can see it in the lights. Seeing a little bit of trails, but not a ton. I'll grab that other towel. Let's see what happens if I do that. Okay, and that wipes off. And that's very slick. That is quite nice. Oh yeah. It's very slick. There's just a smidge of trail still. The harder I push though, the more it comes back out. But if I go over it lightly, it goes away. So that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. It was nicer. It's about 18.5, 19 degrees in here, so it's not a bad temp. It's about 50% humidity. It's definitely nicer. And it's slick. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. It was easier. Still not the easiest thing in the world. It's definitely not very easy. It's easier than it was. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. It's better. It's definitely a better way to do it. But there's an issue now when it comes to the score on the ranked review, which we'll get into at the end of the video. But now we're going to revisit Lithium and try 2 different methods because they show 2 different ways to use it. So yeah. All right, cutting, going over to the next door. Okay, for lithium, we're gonna do 2 different applications. One with this guy and the 5-minute wait. The other with just the cloths. So the cloth, the first one I'll use is this one, and that'll be done here. I'll use this to wipe off. On the next side, I will spray this onto the panel, spread it around, and then remove it with this cloth. So this will be a removal and then an application. So it's not like it's a saturated towel. I could also flip to a different side, but we're working in a smaller area, so hopefully that works out better. Little leaks, but yeah. So, decent amount on there. 1 pole, you know, you expect people to use the trigger at 1 pole for 1 section, and this is about 2 feet by 2 feet roughly. And now we wait 5 minutes. I'm going to cut this because it's 5 minutes is 5 minutes. Okay, it has been 5 minutes. Here goes nothing. And it is smeary. It's going to go lightly. See how it... I mean, hopefully you can see it. It's clear as day to me. It is still smeary. It's slick, but it's smeary. That's a shame. I wish it was really nice in a lot of areas. I think it's quite stout real world. I gotta test it for myself, but I don't know, maybe this whole applicator business, waiting 5 minutes business is not the best way. We'll find out on this section once I am done removing it. And that finally, sometimes I just want that top layer removed and then have some time to breathe. But I'm not going for perfection here. I'm just testing this out. So yeah, I'm gonna say my verdict on this is the same as it was prior. It is not super easy to use, but we will give it one more shot. On this side. And that is exactly what I watched the people who make this do in their video. And we shall see. Like I'm blocking a light, but I can't be anywhere else. Okay. Moment of truth. It's still streaky, but not as bad. But is there a durability difference? That's another question. About that 5 minute setup time. Yeah, it came off easier. It's still gonna, you're still gonna need a lot of cloths to do a car though. I'm just working on half a door and it's already getting ridiculous. It seems to, you know, self flash almost. I don't know how else to describe it. Like flipping over and wiping again, I can get it, the marks to come back, but if I just wait, they sort of just go away and just film a layer on the surface. So maybe that's why it needs to stay dry for, what is it, 24 hours or something? Yeah, avoid getting wet for 24 hours. So maybe that's because there's film. It is very slick though. That was really Infinity. I know we're crossing streams here, but Infinity was really slick with that method with the damp towel, and it was a little bit better, but it is still a lot of work. That towel was really wrung out, so it was very little dampness. I don't know if a little bit more will help, but that's what the website says. Diluting it maybe 1-to-1 might make it a lot more user-friendly. It's going to increase its value proposition as well. And could potentially, you know, cure what ails it, right? And that wipe off. But I will say the damp towel seems a bit better. So we'll leave it at that. But we'll get into the issue now with rank changes and stuff like that in the conclusion. Okay, so we've seen the application. We've hopefully, I think the camera picked up some of it, but when it came to Detail Co., it was better using the damp cloth. It did, I don't know if it helped take a bit more off, but it still needed a good amount of buffing. And it seemed with that whenever I push harder, the more the oils or the product starts to rehaze up again. So it's almost like you just need to dust it off after you've worked it in properly. But it still wasn't perfect. It still needed to have a way less wiping for me to think to have better idea of, you know, just as I say that it has a good application now. It's not bad. It's extremely slick when you do it that way. I liked that about it. It was very slick on the second cloth. It was really good, but you're still chasing the trails. You're still chasing the haze lines. So better, but still not perfect. When it comes to lithium, it didn't make a difference in the wipe off by working in a slightly smaller section. It was slightly better to just spray it on, spread it around, and then buff it off. But that is completely contrast to the label, which is where a lot of confusion is coming from. And then here's the implications now about how this affects rank reviews. Could I say that this application score, doing it that way, is a higher score? As far as the application, yeah, it was a little bit better. But because we're wiping it off with a damp cloth, I don't know how that affects the other characteristics we saw. I don't know if that made the filling performance less. I don't know if that makes the chemical resistance or hydrophobic performance less. Adding that water in could change quite a few of those things. Same thing with a car. You wax it, it's really great. You do, you know, it gets rained on, all of a sudden it's not nearly as slick, or it's not nearly as glossy, because that water affects that stuff. So I can't change the score it has. I have to completely rerun it. And same with lithium. I would have to run them again using an alternate application method, because not letting that sit on the paint for 5 minutes, that could change things. You know, maybe it got a little bit easier to use. It wasn't that much easier. But if it doesn't have that 5 minutes to set up, does it bond as well? Does it cure as well? Does it last as long? That's where my issue is with the scores as they were and modifying them. I would rather redo the whole test again with the new method and have there be 2 lines, one with the note of the type of application, one, you know, or denote the type of application between the two. Going back and changing part of the process for one step and not accounting for how it affects everything else that's not how I want to do that. When you make a change like that, you have to account for anything it may affect. So as far as this product goes, it was nicer to use with the damp cloth. The cloth wasn't super like sopping wet. I wrung it out very well, but it was damp. It was very slick when it was done. It was really nice. So if you've been humming and hawing and were scared of the application, that is better. But it is not you do need to keep going over it. It's still going to be there. I find if you let them sit for a minute and then go in and do the buff, or like spread off, take off what you can, then go in and give it a follow-up after a minute or two, there's an evaporation or something. It just seems to work a little bit better for some products. Same with lithium. Like I was chasing some hazing around, and then if I just stop, it just sort of fades away. And that's could partly be why it needs that 24 hours or prefers that 24 hours to not get wet. That could be that stuff just evaporating off the surface. It needs some time. Again, I'm spitballing here. I don't know for sure, but there was improvements, but it wasn't a night and day improvement. It was just slightly less annoying improvement. So that's where I'll leave that for now. A lot of products coming up. The 4 next competitors are on the doors. They were applied yesterday on the Monday, so it'll be next Monday is the Tuesday the 4th right now. So it was applied on the 3rd, so it'll be on the 10th, I guess, when those go through the hydrophobic testing and chemical testing and gloss inspection. I give the gloss a week. And then the next 4 competitors will be coming out. There's some products in there that are, every product in that next upcoming round is quite good. They all have their own reason for being quite good. So I'm excited for the next round. It should be really fun. Revisiting these will be a low priority because they're on the sheet. The little tweak here could have potentially just little tweaks, especially for lithium. I don't think it needs to be changed at all, but maybe this one will because it's just, I don't know. We'll see. But there's a lot of products that just came in from a secret admirer. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And that'll be interesting. It won't just be for ranked reviews. It'll be other stuff as well. So in a little bit, there'll be a bunch of interesting tests starting. We're still waiting for the weather, but yeah, should be good. But yeah, that's enough for this one. Better, but still not great. So anyway, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.